Hey everyone! We are now officially live on the Spectrum Trail Razor. So, welcome to another episode of the Off Road Campground Podcast. I forgot to do an episode on Saturday because I was in Disney. Yep, I was in Disney World. And we were taking care of my sister's wedding stuff. And we are now home now. And I wanted to give you guys a comparison of two different vehicles that I got to experience. As you know, when I was in Disney World, we stayed at Disney's Boardwalk Inn, and because of that, we rented a Surrey bike. If you guys don't know what a Surrey bike, it's one of those Italian type bikes you would pedal around, and they're used a lot. Yeah, they're used quite a lot. And a Surrey bike um, will have to use my Photos app. That's why we have OBS. I can show you guys what the pictures look like, or what the vehicles look like through pictures. So let me find a picture real quick, and then we'll bring you guys on. I think we found our little section where the Surrey bikes are. So when you go to Disney, when you go to Disney, this is what a Surrey bike looks like. As you see, it's got pedals, like actual pedals. And this one's actually a four-seater, so it'll fit up to four people, two drivers, and I guess two passengers, pedaling because of the power. It should. These things aren't fast as these things aren't fast by any means, unless you make them fast. As you see, there's two drivers, and there's four sets of pedals that you can pedal with your left and right foot. As you can see, this is me and my future brother-in-law. We were driving Surrey bikes. And because of the size of the bikes, you need four people to pedal. And of course, there's room for babies. You can take them for a ride. So that's basically what a Surrey bike is. And we all know what a side by side looks like. I mean, find the most recent photo of my side by side. Let me see. I mean, this is what it looks like muddy. That's when we took a trail riding. I guess I could just type in the word side by side. Or maybe the keyword UTV. How about RZR? I mean, we have a ton. I just don't know where they are in my archive. I mean, this is what a side by side looks like. Just to give a comparison. As you see, it's gas powered. It can go super fast. It's basically like a car, like a little mini version of a car, but these are meant for completely off-road. And they fit four passengers just like a Surrey bike, but this is a gas powered engine, so it's got a ton of horsepower, as you probably tell. And these have 4-point harnesses, since they're mainly meant for off-road. It's got a steering wheel just like a Surrey bike, but the pedals are designed very different than what we're used to before. As you can see, this is what it looks like on the front. And you do get a bar in the back seat, just like a Surrey bike, but they're designed differently, as you can see. With a side-by-side, you can tell that it's basically a much larger, it's basically an off-road vehicle. And Surrey bikes are meant for like beaches and campgrounds and stuff like that. But it's not meant for off-road because of how hard it would be to pedal off-road. And the lifestyle for a side by side versus a Surrey bike kind of depends on your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle is more off road, trail riding, then yeah, get a side by side. If if your lifestyle is going to the beach and going camping, then yeah, get a Surrey bike. Surrey bikes are a good source of exercise because we're moving our feet, up and down, and pedaling it to go, fast or slow. It's even got a brake as a handle, like a gear shift lever. You get a brake where the brakes would be right here on a normal bike. Like on the side here where the handlebars are, but you get a lever for the brake on a Surrey bike because of how big it is. The design is very genius, all thanks to the Italians for creating something that good. And because of that, it's a good source of taking it downtown or going camping when you go to Pirate Land or Carolina, not the Pirate Land or the Myrtle Beach State Park. The side by side we're gonna take when we go trail riding, like at Carolina Adventure World, River Neck, the Half McCoy Trails, Durhamtown in Georgia, Windrock in Tennessee, and just to name a few. So if you're in that lifestyle where you're doing a lot of trail riding, then yeah, by all means, get a side by side. But if your lifestyle is more beachy, campground ish, and going on bike trails that you take a normal bike, then yeah, you can take a Surrey bike. Let me see here. So when it comes to a Surrey bike, they're much larger in size than what we're used to before. With all different types of bikes. So yeah, a Surrey bike is much larger and it's heavier than a traditional bike, if you would. When you're, I guess, for yard riding, I don't know. I guess we haven't really tested out yet in the yard of how easy it is to pedal a Surrey bike around the yard compared to riding a side by side, which is super easy. And with side by sides, they have more off roading tires where Surrey bikes have more street tires, regular bicycle tires on them, and they're much heavier than a traditional bike, but it's still the same level of exercise because after riding a bike mainly around the whole boardwalk, my legs got tired after a while. My legs got tired after a while going around the entire boardwalk because we were pushing up really, really, steep hills with the Surrey bike, and that takes a lot of pedal power, and that uses muscles that a lot of us haven't used in a long time. If you come to think about it, side by sides, they're very easy to drive. So if you know how to drive a car, you know how to drive a side by side. If you know how to drive a side by side, you can drive a car. Basically, get an automatic gear shift lever that is shaft or you know driven by rubber belt, and using the pedals is basically like using a car. You would press it nice and smooth to gain the power slowly, or it's basically like driving a car. Surrey bikes, that take a lot of pedal power, but I guess flat ground wouldn't be as bad. Yeah, pedal power depending on the hills and depending on the terrain, it takes either a lot or a little bit of pedal power to pedal through the entire um, area. And with Surrey bikes, you can actually go on a Surrey bike and go riding. Like, especially if we go camping at Myrtle Beach State Park, we can bring the Surrey bike, go riding around the campground instead of walking on the beach, um, which is much easier to go riding around. But there's a lot that I do like about a Surrey bike versus a side by side. But let's see what ChatGPT says. What is the difference between a side by side and a Surrey bike? Here we go. So here's what ChatGPT says. Okay, a side by side, or often called a UTV, is basically a small off road car. That's basically what it is. It's an off road vehicle used for trail riding and going off road, like mud bogging, and it's powered by an engine, gas or electric. The steering wheel and pedals are like a car. So if you can drive a car, you can drive a side by side. It seats 2 to 6 people next to each other. Usually, most is like 2 to 4 in a traditional bucket seat. Side by side, you get 2 to 4 people, depending on if you get a 2-seater or 4-seater. Side by side has seat belts or roll cage and suspension, so it makes it good for off roading. If it's I guess it's a lot more protection than a Surrey bike, and it's built for off roading, work, or recreation. So for someone like me, I would go with more off road. Since we do a lot of trail riding, mud bogging, at these off road parks, they're really good. Yeah, I think mud riding, trails, farms, hunting, and dunes. The key, it's a motor vehicle designed for speed, terrain, and utility. Yeah, I mean, I kind of do believe that. Where, it's used for mud bogging, trail riding, work, and recreation stuff. That's why you do a side by side. And then a Surrey bike, yeah, it's a pedal powered group. Yeah, a Surrey bike is a pedal powered group bicycle, often seen at beaches and boardwalks. So that's why I wonder if I could take it to our local boardwalk. Ooh, that'd be cool. Taking a Surrey bike to one of our local boardwalks. Yeah, Surrey bike is a pedal powered group bike often seen at beaches and boardwalks. So it's human powered with pedals, usually four wheels, like a quad bike. Bench seating for 2 to 6 people, often has a canopy roof, used for leisure and sightseeing. Think cruising Myrtle Beach boardwalk with friends. Key idea is a slow, social pedal powered ride. Focus on fun and exercise. So, with someone like me, I can actually own both because I do a mixture of both. Like, I can use a Surrey bike for riding around the boardwalk, maybe downtown Conway, taking it to um, campgrounds like Pirate Land, and I can also take it to different campgrounds around the Myrtle Beach area because we live near the beach, and it really works out really well having a Surrey bike. And I can use the side by side when I go off roading, like at Carolina Adventure World, River Neck, Windrock in Tennessee, Durhamtown in Georgia, just to name a few. Those type of trails that are along the East Coast because it's within driving distance. I mean, there's so many different places I can go with the Sabbath side, go and explore all the different trails. That's where I can take the Sabbath side. Where a Surrey bike can be used when we go camping at places like Pirate Land and Myrtle Beach State Park, or Ocean Lakes, or anywhere else that an actual bike is allowed. Okay, so the big difference, um, the speed is 25 to 60 miles an hour. Slow, yeah. So basically, a Surrey bike is slower than a side by side, where side by side can go 25 to 60 miles per hour, and Surrey bike is walking and jogging pace. So terrain, off road, mud, trails, and dunes. That's what it's allowed for. Is mud, trails, and dunes. Basically off roading. Flat paved paths is for a Surrey bike. Controls, steering wheel, and pedals for a Savicide. And the controls are basically bicycle style pedaling, along with a small steering wheel and a brake that is all along the column. Actually on the steering wheel. Purpose for a Sabicide, work, adventure, and off roading. And the Surrey bike purpose is leisure and sightseeing, which I do believe that. So if you are going off roading, get a Sabicide. If you're doing leisure activities slash sightseeing, then yeah, get a Surrey bike. Safety gear, roll cage, and seat belts. So basically, what they're saying is a Savicide is more safe than a Surrey bike. Usually none. It just has seat belts. Yeah, it just has seat belts. That's it. There's no safety on the Surrey bike because it's not meant for that. It's basically like a normal bike, but built like a car, like a little mini boardwalk vehicle. You would steer with a steering wheel, a brake, and having pedals instead of an actual um, car-like pedals, if you will. So it's controlled by moving your legs up and down constantly for hours. It's a really long activity. It's definitely a very powerful activity to go riding on a Surrey bike. And a side by side is meant mainly for off roading, trail riding, all that stuff. It's basically for cruising the trails, going off road. So, I mean, if you are into that kind of stuff, then go with a side by side. If you're like me and live at the beach, then get a Surrey bike. But I guess only one person, if you want to do that kind of thing, you can actually get a bicycle. But a Surrey bike is meant for group riding. Too bad they don't make a one person Surrey bike where it's just one person pedaling using a steering wheel and a brake. Yeah, simple way of picturing it. Side by side is a mini off road car, and a Surrey bike is a group bicycle on vacation, which I do believe that, and that's a simple way to put it. Basically, what they're saying is that side by sides are good for trail riding and going off roading, like mud bogging, and a Surrey bike is good for the beach. It's good for it's definitely good for something. So yeah, basically a side by side is good for trail riding and mud bogging, and a Surrey bike is meant for going to the beach, going to the boardwalk, going wherever, and it's definitely a good leisure activity. It's also good for sightseeing, and it's good mainly for a family. But it'd be kind of cool if they made a one-person Surrey bike, like taking out one half of the front and then taking out the back. Or if you get a two-seater, just taking out one half, the bench seat and make it. I guess it would be impossible to do that because of how heavy it is and how wide it is compared to anything else. Where a side by side can be driven by one person, or yeah, it can be driven by one person, have three other passengers. It's basically like a car that can go off roading. So I don't even know where I'm going to be riding my future Surrey bike because of how crazy our neighborhood has gotten. And there's something in here that I'm really scared of, and that's our neighbors and their dogs. It kind of scares me to death. So that's a safety issue with the Surrey bike. I mean, there's no safety whatsoever with the Surrey bike, but with a side by side, that's basically it's basically that it's safety all around. Yeah, the side by side is more safe than a Surrey bike. A Surrey bike is more leisurely. I have nowhere else I'm gonna be riding my side by side, or where else we be riding a Surrey bike because we have nowhere else to ride a Surrey bike. where I can stay safe from our neighbor's dogs, which scare me to death. And that's the only problem I have with a Surrey bite is if I'm running around the neighborhood and I get bit. Sucks, you know. That's a huge bummer. Where with a side by side, I'll be nice and safe. And we have doors, harnesses, and a roll cage. And I hope you guys have been enjoying those trail riding videos I've been putting up. And it's almost been a year come October. Yeah, it's almost been a year since I picked up my side by side, which is insane. And it's been used quite a lot. I put almost 800 miles on that side by side in almost a year. We're getting close in 800, 900, and 1,000 miles. It's fully broken in pretty much. I wonder how many miles a side by side has to have in order to be considered broken in. How many miles does a side by side have to be considered broken in? Let's see how many miles does a side by side have in order to be considered broken in. Okay, typical break-in range between 10 and 25 hours of engine. So mine is fully broken in at almost 800 miles. My RZR, my RZR XP41000 Ultimate has almost 800 miles on it. Nice. Well, that's... Ooh, okay, so it says it's well past the baby it phase, which means to take it nice and easy. Where I stand, break in is typically 20 hours to 200 miles. At 800 miles, your machine is fully broken in and then some. In other words, you're clear to use the full power, full range, or full RPM range and normal riding style without worrying about breaking in restrictions. What matters now at 800 miles at this age is less about break in and more about maintenance and wear tracking. Most have done already. First oil and filter change around 25 hours / 200 miles. Initial inspection, belts, fluids, bolts. Around 500 to 1,000 miles, check. See, with a Surrey bike, a lot of that stuff doesn't exist. It's basically a typical bike where we have to replace the chains. If they, I guess, Surrey bike maintenance is less complicated and more simple. It's basically replacing it with a traditional chain. If the chain breaks or it snaps in half, where I don't even know where you would take it to get it fixed. Yeah, around 500 to 1,000 miles, check. Is belt drive belt condition. It's huge for razors. Air filter, especially if you ride dusty trails. Oh yeah, a lot. Differential and transmission fluids, brake pads, suspension bolts / bushings, and wheel bearings, which mine went out riding those muddy, dusty trails at Carolina Adventure World and Riverneck, common reality yet at this mileage. So at 800 miles almost, the engine is in its prime performance window. The clutching and belt wear start becoming more important than engine wear. Hard ride habits now matter more than braking ever did. Pro tip: Razor owners know this. The belt and clutch system is usually the first thing to complain, not the engine. If you ride in mud, sand, or slow technical trails, or do a lot of stop and go, keep an eye on belt temps in condition. Simple answer: your Razor isn't just broken in, it's fully ready to rip. Now the game is maintenance, not break in. How is this maintenance compared to the maintenance of a Surrey bike? Oh, it's not even close. A Sabbath sign is like maintaining a small car. Basically, you get oil, engine, yeah, your air filter, your oil filter, your fluids, you know, belts, rubber belts, wheel bearings, all that stuff that can break. So the maintenance level is high on a Sabaside compared to a Surrey bike where it's low maintenance. It's basically like so when you think about maintenance on a Surrey bike, it's very low maintenance and it's very similar to owning a bicycle where the belts have to be, I guess, lubricated, all that stuff. But let's see what ChatGPT says. We can, agree or disagree on this kind of maintenance. So for the XP 1000 Ultimate as an example, okay, so it's using my RZR as an example that I have now. So the maintenance level is high. We're dealing with full engine plus drivetrain system. So it's service. So basically, when I go for a service at Redline Power Sports, we're servicing the drivetrain and the engine. Regular upkeeps includes engine oil filter changes, air filter cleaning and replacement, a CVT dry belt inspection slash replacement, differential and transmission fluid changes, spark plugs, battery cooling system, suspension components, bushings and shocks, brake system, and electrical system slash sensors. I mean, that's a lot to maintain on a RZR, and that's why I take it to, or any side by side. That's why I take it to Redline Power Sports to have all that maintained because there's so much work involved in maintaining the Polaris Razor to keep it going for years to come. I mean, these things are expensive, and I just can't keep replacing the side by side each and every year and getting a new machine every year due to the maintenance. So it's always good to keep it up. At the interval, every 50 hours, they would actually, maintain all that. Especially if we do a lot of trail riding, off roading, all that stuff. So it's very high maintenance. So that's why we need a professional to do it. At least they have the skills and the training that they need to, do and maintain a rate. It's kind of like taking your car in for a repair. There's a lot of components involved in replacing everything on a side by side, in also a car, compared to. So all this stuff has to be done between every 50 to 100 hours. Yeah, oil is every 50 to 100 hours. Belt inspection often replaced as needed. Full service every few hundred miles depending on riding. So for I guess for the rest of the lifetime, I stick at 50 hours so that way everything's good to go. I can either go between 50 to 100 hours of riding, so might as well keep it at 50. So for the Polaris Razor, we do have the service plan for 3 years, and then we have to start paying for our maintenance because we don't have the maintenance plan after a certain amount of time. And we've already talked about this. We talked about maintenance, professional versus doing it yourself. But this, I guess, goes into owning a side by side and a Surrey bike. And the cost, oh yeah, can range between moderate to expensive depending on the riding style. For me, the riding style is going to be trail riding at Carolina Adventure World, Riverneck, going off roading at Riverneck, as well as maybe doing some mountain trail riding in the Half McCoy trails, maybe do some other trail riding at Durham Town in Georgia. And I know there's one, oh, Wind Rock in Tennessee. There's gonna be a lot of trail riding, so yeah, it can get very moderate to expensive depending on the trails I go on. And a blown belt or neglected maintenance equals a lot of money fast. So I guess if you don't take care of everything right away, see, I always like to baby my razor because a lot of that maintenance stuff is brand new every 50 hours. But we definitely want all this new replacement stuff to last. So I just wanted to go nice and easy on my razor, even if it's fully broken in. We just don't want any of the new components to break as soon as they get replaced, like dry belts and oil filter, engine filter, the fluids, which the fluids are good, but a lot of the rubber stuff and a lot of the like, especially with the wheel bearing, we really need to take care of because those are brand new. With every 50 hours, we maintain it. So I want to make this razor last and make the components last until the next trail ride. So with a Surrey bike, yeah, a typical Surrey bike, quadcycle, or yeah, a quad bicycle pedal bike, the maintenance level is low. It's basically a multi-person bicycle. Regular upkeeps includes chain lubrication, tire pressure, and occasional tube replacement, brake adjustment, tightening the bolts, and greasing the pedal and crank components. Frequency, light checks before rides, occasional tune up every few months or seasonally. The cost is very low compared to a UTV. Most fixes are cheap and simple. And without looking at the head to head comparison, simple way to explain it, perfect from, okay, the RZR is like maintaining a Jeep or an ATV, which is a four wheeler. A Surrey bike is like maintaining a beach cruiser bicycle. At your current 800 miles, your razor requires ongoing attention to avoid costly issues, which is why we have the maintenance plan for 3 years, and we start taking it to Redline Power Sports to get all that stuff checked out because they are really good at spotting what's wrong with it and what's good or what's bad, so it can be replaced to avoid all those costly stuff in the long run. See, our local Redline Power Sports is very, very nice and supportive and very helpful when it comes to the razor. A Surrey body, you can neglect it for a long while and still get away with it. So I guess if you're not really good at fixing things, the Surrey bike is a lot easier to maintain without any of the heavy maintenance. Because with a side by side, you're dealing with a gas powered engine or electric engine that needs a lot of maintenance every 50 to 100 hours. And then I guess when the machine is brand new, it's basically what it is, 24 to 25 hours of engine life is the first maintenance. The rest is 50 to 100 hours, which is plenty of time. That's like 3, 4 months, maybe five, depending on how often we ride. I mean, that's months. That's like every season. It's kind of a seasonal thing because we don't ride a whole lot, like an hour or so each day around the yard, taking it to trail rides, which is maybe a few hours. I mean, that's a lot. That's like 3, 4 months of taking it to go and get night, to get it maintained. So 50 hours to 100 is plenty of time. So that's basically the ChatGPT version. So basically, what it's saying is, if you want the least amount of maintenance, get a Surrey bike. If you want them, if you want to have fun in the mud, the trails, and you don't mind the professional servicing on your machine, then yeah, go for a side by side because you get very high maintenance for a side by side and very low maintenance for a Surrey bike. I mean, Surrey bikes are really, really cool for what they are, even though they take a lot of human pedal power. It uses our muscles, our leg muscles, a lot to go up hills and down hills and all that stuff. Depending on the terrain that you're riding on, it has to be smooth, flat, and hard. When it comes to like mud and sand, and, well, all that stuff, and yeah, a side by side is perfect for that because it uses a lot more power. Boardwalks, especially going over bridges, that's a lot of pedal power right there. So I guess it depends on your lifestyle of what you want. I mean, for me, a Surrey bike would be good for staying here at home because after going to Disney, I have this urge to get a Surrey bike for Christmas this year and go riding around. I mean, you've come to think about it, after my trip to Disney, then yeah, I think it should be a lot easier to get a Surrey bike and maybe I could take it somewhere and go riding around and really use it. Which originally I was going to get a CF Moto Z Force 950 Sport and put some street tires on there and make it, a two-seater and just go riding around. But after going to Disney and renting a Surrey bike that I've been wanting to do for 20 years, and owning a Surrey bike, it's more practical where I can have different machines for different needs. Instead of having a golf cart, might as well get a Surrey bike, and it really works out. And pretty soon, if my brother-in-law and sister moved to Florida, I can bring the Surrey bike with me whenever I go visit. Go ride around on the Surrey bike, you know, in Florida, or I can take it to our local campgrounds like Powerland and Myrtle Beach State Park and go ride around the state park as well as Powerland. If we need to go somewhere around the campground, then yeah, we'll take the Surrey bike. We'll have a lot of. We'll even rent a golf cart if we want to rent a golf cart. Because I know with the Surrey bike we can't fit everyone on that Surrey bike. Especially if we go to Powerland. But Myrtle Beach State Park, I can go right around on the Surrey bike. I wonder if there's any bike paths in Conway. So, I love how ChatGPT gives me a lot of this research. Let me see. Bike paths in Conway, South Carolina, where I can take a Surrey bike. Okay, Riverwalk, most popular and beginner friendly. Yeah, I could take it to the Riverwalk, but I don't know where. 1.3 to 3.5 miles, depending on route. Crabtree Swamp Trail. Ooh. Waccamaw River Park Trails. Ooh. Roy County Bike and Run Park. Oh, yeah, bike paths in Conway, South Carolina for a Surrey bike. Yeah, if you're riding a Surrey bike, four wheel, family cruiser, you want wide, flat paths or paved and low traffic paths. Night tight. Yeah, if you're riding a Surrey bike, four wheel, family cruiser, you'll want wide, flat, paved, and low traffic paths. See, this is where the Surrey bike comes in handy because I live here in a nice small town that's not too far from the beach. So a Surrey bike is very practical in here, but we have to drive all the way to like Florence and Winnsboro and Tennessee and all these different places to go riding a side by side. So it's always good to have both, like a mixture of both, especially especially with having a versatile lifestyle. Yeah, if you're riding a Surrey bike, four wheel family cruiser, you'll want flat, wide, paved, and low traffic paths, no tight trails or mountain bike routes. Conway actually has a few solid options, plus some nearby ones. The Conway Riverwalk, best option. Downtown Conway along the Waccamaw River, 1 to 3 to 2.8 miles depending on route or loops. Paved plus boardwalk plus wide paths. Flat, scenic, and beginner friendly can get busy with pedestrians. This is a hands down the best place for a Surrey bike. It's smooth, accessible, and designed for walking and casual riding. Crabtree Swamp Trail, 1.5 miles pass through wetlands. Narrow in spots, good for a short cruise, but some sections might feel tight for a Surrey bike. Cox Ferry Lake recreation area. Um, Off, okay, it's in Conway. There's 3 miles of trails, Mix of surfaces, some unpaved and natural, open space and less crowded. Only partial Surrey friendly, stick to the wider sections. Places to avoid with a Surrey bike. These are great for regular bikes, but not for Surreys. Yeah, Horry County Bike and Run Park, the Hulk. It's tight, twisty mountain bike trails, Walkable River, trail loops, more natural surface, single track, nature preserve trails, too narrow and uneven, nearby for better for longer Surrey rides if you're willing to go 15 to 25 minutes. Yeah, Myrtle Beach State Park paths are wide paved roads and some trails, scenic ocean and forest riding, much longer cruise options, East Coast greenway segments in the Myrtle Beach area dedicated for bike lanes and paved paths. Good for extended rides. So their recommendation is Conway Riverwalk for the best overall. Short secondary options Crabtree Swamp. For longer rides, head towards Myrtle Beach paved paths. So there's just some places I can go with a Surrey bike, but there's some places I can go with a Sabaside. Like if I'm willing to go towards Johnsonville, I can go to Rivernet Acres outside of Florence, South Carolina. I can go to and take a nice mini vacation to Carolina Adventure World in Winsboro, Winsboro, South Carolina. So a third one can be Durham Town in Georgia, Windrock in Tennessee, and also if I want to drive over where my brother and sister-in-law are, I can go to the Half and McCoy trails up in Beckley, West Virginia, and check out some of those trails. So it's good for trail riding. It's good going off roading. There's a lot of places I can go off roading with the side by side and go and take it somewhere and go riding around and all that stuff. There's even some off road trails in outside Johnsonville where I took my uncle's truck that would even take the Colorado Trail Boss and go off roading in the Trail Boss. That'd be cool. I've always wanted to go off roading with that truck. That'd be nice. We've only driven it on paved roads. It's time to take it off roading. It's an off road truck. It needs to go trail riding at least some that are flat and having fun. And then what's the point of having a truck? So basically what they're trying to say is that Surrey bikes are good for beachy areas, especially in in river towns like Conway. There's a lot of places you can go and riding a Surrey bike. But at the same time, a side by side is good for trail riding at places like Riverneck, Carolina Adventure World, Durham Town, Windrock, and the Half McCoy trails, just to name a few of the trails I want to check out, or I have checked out in the past. I mean, there's a lot of different places I can go and manage my times with the Surrey bike and the side by side. So it's always going to have both. Using the Surrey bike for more exercise and using the side by side for more laid back cruising, trail riding, off roading activities. So I guess there's no clear winner in this comparison. They are completely different vehicles, But if you were to compare it to an ATV, like a four wheeler, the side by side would definitely win because they're both, they are both used for trail riding. They're both for going off roading, and the side by sides are a lot more safer than a four wheeler. And with a four wheeler, yeah, we had like two deaths already at Riverneck Acres from four wheelers, which goes to show that those things aren't as safe as a side by side. Because with a side by side, you get a roll cage, 4-point harnesses to keep yourself nice and safe, just in case it does roll over. It'll be safe and can always be pulled out and turned back over, even though it won't be the same. I guess if you take it nice and easy, you'll be fine. Where with a Surrey bike, that is basically impossible to go off roading to Carolina Adventure World, Riverneck, all those other places that are off roading. That's where a side by side comes in because of those tires that dig deep into the mud and the dirt, and using that power, then yeah, you can easily get uphill or downhill very easily. Even if you were just cruising around the park and need to go somewhere, to the bathroom, to the gift shop, to wherever, then yeah, you would take the side by side because of how the terrain is. I mean, just imagine what it'd be like. Yeah, it's very difficult because you got to use a lot of pedaling power, use a lot of muscle in your legs to really get through mud, sand, or whatever. It's good for smooth paved roads because of the tires that are on there. You can't even put off-roading tires on those Surrey bikes. It's good for campgrounds, neighborhood riding. I mean, there's just a lot. So I guess there's no real winner in the comparison between the Surrey bike and the side by side, the UTV, because they both have steering wheels, they both have brakes. Where the brake pedal is actually on the floor, and the brake for the Surrey bike is right there at the top, where with the column is. You would pull it down, and that's your brake. And a side by side has an infotainment screen. It has, it's basically like a car. You get a speedometer, you get an infotainment screen, like with Polaris, you get the ride command system. You don't get anything in a Surrey bike unless you're willing to. Actually, there is no form of entertainment for a Surrey bike. Bluetooth speakers for a Surrey bike. For a Surrey bike, which often features a wider handlebar steering setup compared to a standard bike, you need a rugged portable speaker with a secure mounting system. It can handle leisurely multi-person rides. Based on search results, the best options include dedicated handlebar, mounting speakers, and rugged versatile alternatives. Ooh. I don't know how they would mount it on a Surrey bike from JBL, the Win 3S. I wonder where you would mount on a Surrey bike. Let me look at my pictures from Disney. Yeah, we're gonna go to my pictures from Disney. Look at pictures from a Surrey on a Surrey bike. I mean, we can look at where my mom was sitting. I mean, they would probably have to stick to the pole where the canopy is. That's where the speaker would have to go. You know, right here where the canopy is. Yeah, they would have to go right here on the bar. I mean, for a Surrey bite, yeah, there's no way of actually mounting it to where the canopy is. That's the issue. Yeah, that's actually the issue. So it'd be really hard to get a. I guess the point of a Surrey bite is to not have music. Especially if you're just going to ride trails for less than an hour. But maybe I can get a Bluetooth speaker for the Surrey bike, like the Win 3S by JBL. I have a lot of JBL speakers. I love my JBL Flip 6. I use it a lot. I don't know how, yeah, especially with the JBL Flip 6. You get the JBL Flip 6. I had the Bluetooth headphones from JBL, and now I have the AirPod Pro Maxes. Those are amazing from Apple. These are the best Apple headphones that I currently have. I know we're getting off topic, but basically what I'm trying to say is I'm loyal to the JBL brand, and getting one for a Surrey bike, you know, it's gonna be really hard to mount because I know I gave my cousin my Amp Caddy speakers. Those are meant for golf carts to stick onto their onto the bar there. So maybe I can get a Surrey bike plus a Bluetooth speaker to have music while I'm riding around on the Surrey bike, but keep it at a nice, small or soft volume. That'd be cool. Because I know you have to strap it to the handlebar, and a lot of times it may not get grip as much for a Surrey bite, and I don't think you can get a bar because it doesn't grip anywhere. Let's see what else ChatGPT gives me. Actually, oh, here we go. Yeah, JBL Win 3 in the Win 3S. FM, Bluetooth, speaker, handlebar. It's a top choice, specifically designed for cycling. Pros includes a handlebar bracket, IP67, waterproof, dustproof rating, and a clear LED display. And it also includes an FM tuner and an SD card slot. Ooh, a Vantry Cyclone portable Bluetooth speaker. I actually have the Flip 6, known for durability and powerful sound, perfect for fitting into a front basket or mounting to the roof of a Surrey bike. So it's really hard to find a good Surrey bike Bluetooth speaker that will actually mount perfectly to the bar where the canopy sits. That's where a side by side comes in. So if you're running a side by side, then yeah, you get everything built in. Especially with the ultimate model, you get the infotainment screen, you get all this stuff built in. No worries. You get an infotainment screen with the safety features. You get an all digital speedometer and tachometer on the display. You get music, you get navigation, you get all this stuff already built into the side by side. It's basically like a car, like a modern vehicle. So the ride command is basically one of a kind. It takes a leisure vehicle that is meant for off roading and trail riding and adding music. Where you want to add music to a Surrey bike, you would have to get a third party um, speaker to mount to the bar where the canopy is, the canopy bar that comes down, and you can have to tighten it down a little bit so it doesn't fall when riding around. That's the thing. So it all comes down to that. And we'll see how everything goes with the Surrey bike and the side by side, using it together. That won't be possible until we can close up, do a lot of work to the house. We build a building because we'll have room for the Surrey bike and the side by side together. And right now we have zero room for a Surrey bike. I don't know where we would actually put the Surrey bike when we've got the side by side. That thing is huge in itself. But we'll just have to wait till we get a building and we can find somewhere to park the side by side and the Surrey bike. But we'll figure that out at some point down the road. But when it comes to the Surrey bike and the side by side, I guess it all comes down to your personal preference of what you're wanting to get into, whether it's leisure activity at the beach or in a river town like Conway, or riding a boardwalk, or you would get a Surrey bike. But if you're going trail riding up in the mountains in Georgia, Tennessee, or if you're just going off roading, including those off road trails, then yeah, a side by side is very practical for that. It also depends on where you live, of whether to get a side by side or a Surrey bike. They're both really good in their own way, pretty much. From what we've read on ChatGPT, yeah, even maintenance is very high on a side by side compared to low maintenance on a Surrey bike. So it's really hard to tell what you want, whether you want a Surrey bike or a side by side, or any kind of off road vehicle. I wonder what vehicle is good for yard riding. Because I know you would probably need street tires if you're just going to be riding around the yard. What type of vehicle is perfect for yard riding? Um, Here we go. Perfect for yard riding. Perfect vehicle for yard riding really depends on how you plan to use it. Just cruising around, hauling stuff, or going through rough terrain, here are the main types of what's best for. A golf cart, best for most yards. Best overall choice for typical yard riding. Smooth, quiet, and easy to drive. Great for neighborhoods, big yards, or light property use. Usually electric, low maintenance, plus no noise. Top speed is 15 to 25 miles an hour. A UTV or side by side. Handles rough terrain, hails, mud, and can haul tools, much mulch equipment, and seats perfect for multiple people, and has a cargo bed. Faster and more powerful than golf carts. Ideal for your yard. Yeah, ideal if your yard is large, uneven, or if you're doing actual work, landscaping, hauling, etc. ATV four wheeler. Best for fun and tight spaces. Great for trails, weaving around obstacles. More fun rather than a utility vehicle. Not really. Usually one or two riders, perfect for off road terrain. I have a 3 acre yard. Flat but a little uneven, especially in the backyard. And I already have a side by side. The reason why I asked this question is trying to find the best type of vehicle without mess up the grass. Yeah, you're actually asking the right question, because at your size, 3 acres flat but uneven, the issue isn't the vehicle anymore, is what touches the ground. Since you already have a side by side, the real fix is tires, driving style, not buying another vehicle. What actually messes up the grass, your lawn gets torn up from aggressive tread, knobby mud tires, sharp turns, spinning tires. I don't really do that. We'd concentrated in small contact paths. Knobby tires dig into soil for traction, which is great for mud but terrible for grass. The best for your setup, yeah, switch to turf tires, game changer. Wide, flatter tread spread, weighed out, designed specifically for, or not to tear up grass. Used on golf carts, yeah, golf courses for a reason. Still grips enough for light, uneven ground. Turf tires have shallow, smooth tread patterns that protect lawn while still providing traction. Talks about tire pressure, driving habits. What are the perfect type of tires if I'm doing a mixture of trail riding and yard driving or yard cruising? Because I can type in what are the perfect type of tires perfect type of tires for my RZR. I'm doing a mixture of trail riding, at places like Riverneck Acres and Carolina Adventure World. Gotta fix that. And yard cruising. All terrain. Yeah, you got one of the trickiest setups to balance because you want trail performance at places like Riverneck and Carolina Adventure World, which can also handle really good at in Georgia, Tennessee, and all that stuff. So, and of course, yard friendly cruising, not tearing up the grass. The truth, no single tire is perfect at both extremes, but there's a sweet spot category. So we can put hybrid, all terrain, turf friendly, all so we can definitely replace it with some all terrain tires because where you want to do yard cruising as well as go off roading. So when we replace, we got to get some all terrain tires so that way I don't have to switch to different tires on the side by side to go cruising around the yard, but also switch them back if we want to do some trail riding. This is what you want: medium tread, non aggressive mud tires, rounded lugs, don't dig into the grass, wide contact patch protects your yard, and construction rides smoother. All terrain UTV tires are built to handle dirt, trails, and hard pack while still riding smooth on grass pavement. Best tires for your setup: the Tusk Terrible Radial Tire. Those are really cool. It's best overall trail plus yard balance. Why it's perfect for me: tight tread pattern, won't shred the yard. Radial smooth on hard ground plus trails. It still hooks up on dirt and light mud. It's the closest thing to a golf cart meets trail tire. Best aggressive but safe option if trails get rough. Super ATV imitator, all terrain tire. Uh, Deeper tread than Terabyte. Still classified as all terrain, not mud. Good for Carolina Adventure World when it gets loose. Slightly more grip. Slightly more grass impact. So we need to look for an all-terrain tire comparison. It comes a different comparison. Oh, Tusk, Terabyte, or similar hybrid all-terrain tire. And then run slightly lower PSI 10 to 12 in the yard. Avoid tight turns on grass. Use your aggressive driving only on trails. If you want, tell me. XP 41000 Ultimate non turbo. So I was looking for a tire. Polaris XP 41000 Ultimate. Best is the Tusk Terabyte Radial Tire. At the end, bonus tip. Yeah, my recommendation: go with Tusk Terabyte. We're going to do 32-inch tires. Run 10 to 12 psi in the yard. Avoid sharp turns on grass. Open it up on trails. That'd be cool. I'm thinking about going with 32 by 10s. When I replace the stock tires, would be a 32 by 10 tire. Oh, yeah, less grass damage. Wow. That is cool. That is so cool. I definitely would love to get an all terrain tire so that way I can go riding around the yard, mixing in with trail riding at Carolina Adventure World in Riverneck. And the Surrey bike can be used around the neighborhood. We just ride the side by side around the yard. But if I want to go around the neighborhood, I go on to the Surrey bike. Or if I'm going to the beach or whatever, if I'm going camping at Myrtle Beach State Park or Pirate Land, then I take the Surrey bike. So we definitely need a balance in 2027 for the Surrey bike and the side by side. So that's be kind of cool. I'm definitely looking forward to all of this next year in 2027. A Surrey bike for paved roads and for more off road use, and yeah, the side by side. So we're going to get a balance out of both vehicles, which is amazing. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We've gone an hour and a half on this episode and no one's watching, but I guess it's understandable with 18 subscribers, where I got a lot more on TikTok. Yeah, I got 18 subscribers here on the Spectrum Trail Razor. And as you can see, as you can probably see, we renamed it to showcase my autism as well as my love of conquering the trails fearlessly, effortlessly, and doing it with no problem. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys next time. Well, I'll actually see you guys on Saturday, on this upcoming Saturday for another episode, or maybe the following Saturday because we've already done one for this week. But I guess we can do another episode to get back on track. And then we'll do one each week. I think we'll do 2 episodes on vacation days when I'm, gone for a weekend. And then we'll come back for 2 episodes, one on like Tuesday, depending on what time I come home from my vacations. And then one on Saturday, if I'm coming home on a weekday, we can do one on the weekday and then one on the weekend, just to get back on track, and maybe even try to fit one in on the vacation day. That'd be cool. So if I'm on vacation, I'll try to pull one in. I'll try to throw one in during the day and try to get back on track. But this one was just weird. We've been busy, busy, busy at Disney, taking care of my sister's wedding and all that stuff. We've just been so busy and just never had time to to do a show for you guys. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when a new video goes, or a new episode of the Off-Road Campground goes live, or when I upload a brand new trail riding video, or any other kind of video that has to do with off-roading and leisure activity vehicles. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.